Okay, welcome to the weekend of May 18th, fifth Sunday in Easter, and a lot of things that are happening in my current assignment that I want to talk about this weekend. So, if you're not from St. Catherine's in Redding, I know I have a lot of people. Really, the reason why I do this in the first place, post these little reflections on YouTube is just at the request of people from my former assignments. And so I'm glad to do it. I'm sorry if I forget from weekend to weekend. But anyways, here we are, May 18th, 2025. And it's we're celebrating here at St. Catherine's our 100th anniversary. So the actual anniversary date, I believe, is December 12th. But that's close to Christmas. It's in the winter. We wanted to have a date where we invited the bishop, where as many people could come as possible. And so that's kind of how we landed on this date, right after Mother's Day, but before Memorial Day weekend, when people start going on vacation. The weather's nice. We don't have to worry about driving in the dark. All these things we were kind of thinking about to kind of maximize the number of parishioners can attend this. And so we came up with this date 2 years ago, and two other things are happening, okay, this same weekend. One was a lack of oversight on our part, my bad. And the other is just pure God's divine providence, okay? The first thing is one of our parish sons, Jeff Tomczyk, just received the order of diaconate. He's a transitional deacon. He'll spend a year as a transitional deacon, and hopefully next June of 2026, he'll be ordained a priest and celebrate his first Mass at St. Catherine's. And just a really exciting time. My first time as pastor of a parish that I have, someone from my own parish making it to Holy Orders. So congratulations to him. Very exciting. But again, that's always been the third weekend in May. The diocese always has the diaconate third weekend in May, and then the first weekend in June is the priesthood. So that was my bad, scheduling this 100th anniversary celebration on the same day where he's going to be preaching his first Mass. But still, I think just a beautiful tie-in that I'll get to in just a second. But the other is just God's divine providence, just really neat how also Sunday morning over at Rome, Pope Leo XIV will have his inauguration Mass and formally be installed as our Holy Father, being bestowed upon the various rituals and symbols like receiving the papal ring and so forth, and his staff and mitre and that type of thing. But so it's just exciting that all this is kind of happening on this weekend. And a first American-born Pope, Jeff's diaconate. And I think the beauty of this parish, one of the parish's greatest contribution to the diocese is not the wealth of the people or anything like that, though there are a lot of very generous people here in this parish. But the generosity of families putting forth their sons and daughters for a religious vocation. I'm not exactly sure how many religious sisters would come out of this parish. I'm sure there's a bunch. But we have a bunch of young men, old men, who are priests in this diocese that have their home base here at St. Catherine's of Siena. And something as a parish to be very, very proud of. And in fact, it kind of also ties in what we've been doing with this Catholic leadership. We're kind of wrapping up our envisioning phase and moving to the implementation phase. But the three kind of what we call goals that we want to kind of focus our attention on as a parish is going to be catechesis, the family life, and communication / evangelization. Those are the kind of the three goals that we're looking at. And again, it kind of ties well to what this parish has been doing for decades. Starting with the family life. I believe, really, if we want to increase vocations to the priesthood religious life, but also I think increase marriages, which is also on a decline. It kind of all starts with the formation of the family, and to, as a parish, kind of give help, assistance, directions to raising, your children in the practice of the faith. We want to promote, support, and encourage the family, which, again, is really the hotbed of vocations. There are exceptions and so forth. People come from different walks of life, but always as a family being open for the possibility of your child entering into religious life. Don't be afraid. I think a lot of times it's not like people, hate the life or hate the faith. It's just they're afraid, for whatever reason. Afraid that they'll never see their child again, afraid that they'll be poor, afraid of virginity, celibacy type of thing, afraid of loneliness, whatever the reason is. Afraid of not having grandchildren, those types of things. But so there's that aspect. And then the catechesis. And again, I see it. I see just the way that people thank me. They thank me in terms of just learning something new about the scriptures, and host a lot of Bible studies and other sessions, and are often well attended. But we could always do better. Do better in communicating, doing better in promoting things about the faith where people learn and they get excited. I think the two go together, where you might learn something of an aspect of a faith and it just inspires. It's like, wow, I've never thought of the Mass this way, or I never thought of this passage is looked at this way. And, it invigorates, it enlivens the faith. And so we're going to do more of that and be more efficient. One of the big things we have planned is kind of a catechesis Mass, a teaching Mass, where, we're going to slow down. I have this planned for the first Wednesday in Advent, where we just kind of slow down and learn about the faith as we do the Mass. And again, going in with our third goal, that of communication, evangelization, to really just increase our awareness and attention of these things. So again, it's an exciting day, a day of rejoicing. All this is also happening under the what's that called? The Jubilee Year of Hope. It was Pope Francis's last gift to the church before he passed away. A beautiful gift where hope is not much more than, it's not just wishful thinking. It's not wishful thinking. Hope is grounded in the truth. It's grounded that no matter what happens in life, no matter what crosses or sufferings we encounter in life, we look, for example, at the decrease in vocations to the priesthood. We see fewer and fewer priests. It's something to have our attention, but at the same time, we have hope in the promises of God's steadfast care and love for us, that He's going to help us and maintain us through this in life. And so 100 years, Jeff's ordination, new American Pope, who at least right now is just offering some really good spiritual faith insights already. Really excited. I hope it continues. I hope things don't change. But in all this, the virtue of hope, the Jubilee Year, a reset, just giving thanks to God for what he's given us today, and asking for his continual help and steadfast throughout the life of the church and throughout our own lives. And we rejoice. We pray for our Pope. We pray for Jeff, and especially this weekend, pray for the living and deceased members of my parish of St. Catherine of Siena. May God bless you.